Fatebinder Draka, am I right? I am Service. Commander of the 3rd generation disfavored, specifically service to younger. Some hopes can't keep track. The ranks say Commander, but lately I'm organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to the Iron Marshal if you have something official needing to discuss. What do you need? I overheard you asking the Earthshakers where their enforcements have gone. Is there a problem? I'm afraid so. Radix, the head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of his most competent spellslingers to break the stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and it worries me. If you'd be so inclined to lend a hand, we can use some arcane support. Could you? I knew Turon's agents wouldn't fail us in our time of need. I'll mark the last known site of the Earthshaker reinforcement. Good hunting, Fatebinder. The two armies haven't worked well in years. Why do you think that is? Come on, Binder. Seems like asking why beasts stink. The disfavored are too eager to carry out Kairos' peace to the tears, while the Scarlet Chorus bring only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the Voices of Iraq has a plan, and I'll take your word for it, but the Chorus sure seems to blunder around, never moving with purpose as we do. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war, soldier. I've seen Ash yank his precious soldiers away from more battles than he's won. If you call that progress, be my guess. Unless we find a way to work as one, I fear the Scarlet Chorus will step in front of the Ashen Grave strategy at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like Voices of Art is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us do our job. Tell me about yourself. Not much to tell. My first was Silverus the Elder. His father was Service the First of his name. Led Dreadmaster of Ash's First Iron Guard, back when they were the Bronze Guard. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope, I'll die in the Legion. The rest you will hopefully hear when the storytellers immortalize me. He was in the Bronze Guard? So your family must have been with Ash even before he was with Kairos. Aye, you know your history. The blood goes back that far, not the memories. As if I only ever knew my father. My grandfather was a legend, one of Ash's best warriors, before the disfavored were reforged in iron. I'm proud of my heritage. I try not to brag. These folks who love the Legion every much as I do, but they lack pedigree. You should be proud. Thanks. I try not to think of it too fondly. If anything, every time I screw up something, I wish I wasn't dragging my name through the mud. Bronze Guard. Why do you think the siege was delayed so long? I should have been over real quick and simple. The First Corps arrived in the valley and went wide for the kill. That was before we knew the Varian Guard had sages and a water witch on their side. A bigger problem is the Scarlet Chorus. The Eagler conscript the Varian Guard, but I have no proof of this. But it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on the drafted Tearsmen. They often sent patrols, and we expect that they use the opportunity to escape back to the Guard. Every Corps conscript has a choice. Life under Kairos or death under the army's boot. By all means, feel free to cut those down. We won't offend. Alright. Alright, what can we do? Don't coddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. I said eyes on your opponent. Waistline. If you spend more time glancing around checking his footwork, you're already lost. You mentioned you're short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? I have brigades amassing along the Plastic, Echo Hall, and Little Tooth crossings. The Varian Guard may hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a controlled three-prong attack. I have no right to give you orders, but we will die to Kairos' edict should we fail. This is the second major attack on the river, correct? What happened last time? The feat in detail. We carved a bloody path up to the river, but at that point, everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no Chorus backup. It was just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost our whole assault team. We found bodies washing up in the river for days, and it's not often Tearsmen put up such a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the numbers we need to take the valley. Really? Are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of details about the enemy and you... Sounds like your lack of caution is to blame, not the Scarlet Cuirassiers. Lack of caution. My legion is my family. I do not play loosely with their lives. The only blame here is on the Oathbreakers and their transgender creep, blah blah blah. I'll assist. Blah 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 blah.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
An honor.
Likewise, good Binder.
Barik, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
I encountered Barik in the Stalwart campaign. Though he appears much changed, he's an excellent soldier.
You're generous to say so. I'm afraid I left the better part of myself on the killing fields of Stalwart. But it's still in my pride and honor to serve the Legion.
Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might come in handy. And more importantly, if my worries come true, and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we will have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
I asked Barik to accompany you if there's arbitrary cooperation between his company and his course. Alright. Barik, you've been without a cohort since the Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. Ash has assigned you to the Fatebinder service. You're to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you. We could very well mean swiftly approaching the end of the war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? It's an honor. Alright! Dude! We are in business! We got a tank, we got me, we got her. Alright, so we got oh god. How did you do that? Do what? Back in the Archon's war tent, you cast an edict as casually as reading a supply shipment. How did you do that? I've done it before. Don't I look stupid? You're the one who cast the Edict of Storms on Stalwart, didn't you? That was the one that tore up the battlefield with the cyclone of Kairos' anger. That was me. Well, call me impressed. Considering that you've read the words of Kairos more than once, I'm surprised that you're even alive to tell of it. Your vocal cords should have turned to ash by now. I'm not making you feel uncomfortable. It's more worth recognizing that you've done. Not only are you Turon's Fatebinder, but you're the mouthpiece of the Overlord. Gives me plenty of reason to stick around. If you're going places, I want to see where to leave. Can I ask you something?
What do you need?
What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? The Tearsmen can fight or submit to Kairos' peace, and only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find some other excuse to fillet them. They need to understand. Whether we unify the Tears under the shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or her. That's an interesting view of the conquest. Pragmatic one, anyway. Scarlet Chorus caught onto the idea of beginning of the campaign. If no one objects, then we're here to carve a bloody path for gaining the music by all accounts and purposes. Besides, the unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows its favorite and chorus to interpret it as they will. The Overlord is concerned with the results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off farmers' legs. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. No, there isn't, Fatebinder. I suspect that we're going to make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. Did you fight in any notable battles? I spent some time in Azure toward the end of the war. Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Khan's orders, but we never found out.
The Scarlet Chorus is mostly for madmen and peasants with rusty daggers, but it's also a little niche of freedom that I never had. Once I survived training and met my Scarlet Fury sisters, I saw a different side of the howling mob.
Tell me about your training.
For new recruits shoved to the front lines, training means surviving the first battle. Anything beyond that is for the fighters who show potential, whether as blade dancers or arcane madmen. There's nothing in the world like getting put through the paces as a Scarlet Fury. Every day is a test of your commitment and passion. Failure means death. The first few weeks were the hardest, but also the most rewarding. I earned my name, picked up some quality weapons, and met my sisters.
Can you tell me about the Furies?
The elite fighters of the Scarlet Chorus. Your typical Horde recruit fights with a rusty spoon and a chip on his shoulder, but the Scarlet Furies are, well, different. We focus our madness. We coordinate, we kill, we dance. It's like art. Imagine a sculpture that twisted in weird, beautiful angles, and then gutted you too fast for you to realize what was happening.
That sounds nice. I'm evil. Get used to it.
It is, as I remind myself all the time. The most important day of my life was when the voices of Nerat recognized my potential and sent me to Scarlet Fury training.
And you earned your name? If you think a simple farmer from the Tiers would name their child Verse, I suggest you visit my old village. Most of them are walking around with story rhymes like Barrow or Fish. Not the most creative bunch. The chorus takes your name away. Whoever you were before, you aren't that person anymore. Then you earn a name through great deeds, even murderous, usually murderous ones. That's why you see choirmen walking around with names like Stink Mouse or Face First. That's probably good reason for it. The voices of Nerat gave me this name. The Scarlet Chorus runs howling into battle. He doesn't hear war, he hears a symphony. And when I fight with blade or bow, he told me that my music stands out louder than anyone else's, and contains too many parts to be easily defined. What's your real name? That question isn't worthy of either of us, but I'll entertain it out of pity. You already know me by my real name. It's Verse. Are you looking for whatever arbitrary collection of letters or sounds my mother thought was appropriate when she didn't even know me? Weapon skills. When I was a kid, it didn't take me long to realize I was a natural. I could pick up a rusty kitchen knife and skewer a rat from across the room.
What do you need to know?
Who are your sisters? Who were they would be, more appropriate. 3 Whispers, Red Geyser, Seek and Sheath. Best fighters I've ever met. What happened to them? We were scouting around Varian's well during the siege, back when we were only suspected of guarding organizing secret. Cable crop recruitment, or Kairos knows. Maybe they found us. We drew iron. Things went wrong. You started to pick targets. You lost your nerve. Instead of rushing the Oathbreakers, I froze my weapon draw. My sisters fought without me. They were off balance, like whatever I had was catching them. They died, I lived. My sisters were riding me to lead the dance, and I failed. Okay. Any idea why you lost your nerve? I wish I had an explanation. For the first time, I lost the dance. The Song of Murder drew silence. Instead, only rigid, organized control. Sounds like the security of Phalanx to me. You should practice a more orderly form of combat, if it suits you so well. Alright, what about you? I can't talk to you yet. Okay! Alright, so you're a tank. You're definitely a tank. One-handed, two-man. I think that would be good. Spoke with her. Alright, I gotta get friends with him. Alright, let's keep going. Let's go! Oh my god.
You look as if you have something on your mind. By all means. What can I do for you?
I'd like to know more about you. I am the lines of your enemies cannot cross. All other details are meaningless, but I expect you have some thirst for details. What's the story about your armor?
It is a symbol of Kairos' will. One that I am not likely to forget. I found this armor. Perhaps it would be better to say that it found me during the Edict of Storms.
I proclaimed the edict. Where were you when it struck? I was in the field. Even though I knew that the People's Star would receive no warning, duty compelled me to march on the stronghold in the heart of the realm. That was important work left unfinished. Our march was a hasty one. A cohort of disfavored soldiers vanished in the second year of the war, among them the daughter of Ashengrave. After a long silence, we learned she was held in the fortress of Sentinel Island. We surrounded the citadel. I opened the Pearls of Thunder. As the scout, I was busy trying to kill. The winds hit like an avalanche. Many of us begged Kairos for deliverance. What else could we do? The winds knocked the leg of our offensive from out under us. All the decorated children I brought to battle were swept up and dashed to pieces, their armor and bodies mixed with the dirt tornado that spun maddening revolutions. A piece of the citadel broke off and crushed my skull. I only remember a few scattered moments from the storm, like flying bits of bronze and iron cut my flesh. Severed limbs of fallen soldiers tumbling through the air. Looks like pretty solid convection. Did you handle your own repairs? Blah blah blah. Stop this! Speaking ill of the Great General is not wise while I'm an in-shot Fatebinder. Hey, the boss has a point. Trading jabs is fun, but it's not going to get us anywhere. May I continue my story, or do you plan on interrupting again? The favor needed recruits in Fatebinder. They offered to care for my mother and brother as long as I stay with the Legion, which is better than you'll find anywhere. Tell me of your name. It's a shortening of my northern surname, which was passed down through the generations since Ashengrave assembled his army. I go by it and wear it with pride. The proper form is Barikonen. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna put myself here, because things keep on popping over there, so... Alright, so let's get to know Barik a little bit. I feel like we talked to him a little bit, but I feel like I kind of want to see what his reputation ability is. Inventory, party spells, hidden missives. There we go. Alright, if I be friends with him, javelins, marks his armor, above the Fatebinder. Alright. Combo ability. Powerful attack, shots by... Huh, interesting. I'm a very barbaric person. I'm noble and barbaric. I have this ability from her, Death from Above. Launch verse into the air, allowing her to unleash a series of well-aimed arrows. That could be interesting. Or, once per rest, takes flames her, catches her blade. Can she fear and be loyal to me? Right, we're good with him. He don't like us. We might try to get him to like us. Can we get everyone to like us? That persuasion's good. That's also good. Oh, I already have this. Stand tall. It's passive. Ooh. Oh, that's the AoE. Okay. Why would we... I'm an evil asshole so far. Alright. Where are we going? You have berries. Okay, we have this. And we have death from above. Alright. So, Sterling.
Yes.
All of you need to come. Okay, let's talk to him.
You look as if you have something on your mind. By all means. What can I do for you?
Can you tell me about of the tiers? Uphill both ways and full of dom sods. I learned some history and training and I've been here for years, but I'm no expert. What's your assessment of the local forces? There was a time early in the war when I would have feared the younger realms working together. Imagine that. Once I saw the modest scope of their defensive, I knew they would be easily outclassed. They couldn't really rally their best to make a competent stand. Alright, so tell me about the Viridian Guard. It used to be the Queen's Royal Army of the Viridian. I guess defeat inclined them to a shorter name. We crushed them back in 429. I'm proud to say I took part in a decisive battle. You know the rest. A year after we thought them conquered, thousands of Viridian Oathbreakers murdered the garrison and declared themselves free of Overlord rule. Tell me about the Unbroken. The Unbroken Union of Stalwart, may they rot in the decrepitude of their fallen realm. It pains me to admit, in all the realms of the tiers, the Unbroken have been the only foe worthy to meet the disarmable and blade. Okay. The Unbroken value tradition, just as we do. Starworld has never lost a war on their own soil, a reputation they take quite seriously. It's fortunate that the Starworld has poor relations with all its neighbors. The rest of the tiers will not come to their aid, so as bravely as they fight, their end is inevitable. And tell me about the Bronze Brotherhood, or us Bronze. Mercenaries from the free cities. The chorus needs extra muscle. You can always mint new rings. Hard to believe the tiersmen turn on each other for mere true loops of metal. The Bronze Brotherhood worship the scourges. Yes, those monsters from the old walls. Mercenaries are grown adults and willingly admire magical abomination. Read into that what you will. That said, it should be surprised that the Bronze Brotherhood eventually wanted more than just rings and turned on their contract. Kairos now considers them an enemy, which is for the best. The Overlord needs a better class of combatants.
Go on, Fatebinder.
Beastmen. We've touched upon that during my conquest. They drilled us on Beastmen combat before the invasion, but it did little to prepare us. The local savages are lacking in brain, hygiene, and the ability to arm themselves, yet the prime hunters of their species are formidable. Aside from being repetitious killers, the Beastmen make good haulers and laborers once you've killed the half that won't follow orders. And the younger realms? Before we marched on the bastard tier, I recall Grave Ashen give us a speech as we stood assembled at Fort Resolution. He told us that the younger realms lacked the sense of making a stand. Younger realms are collecting as the younger realms. Okay. I don't think I need to point out the average tiersman is plain inferior to the sons and daughters of the North. For every one of ours they kill, we must drag a score and half bleeding into the soil with us. Alright, enough about the tiers. You seem like more than a capable fighter. I trained with a spear and shield in my youth, but gave it up the day I earned disfavored iron. I can still throw with some accuracy, but it's a challenge these days. Why, were you interested in a sparring session? Show me how a northern wouldn't pair a boar. To take no offense, I would keep my fighting techniques private for the time being. They are personal to me as family secrets. I heard a rumor that Ash has an unbeatable sword fighting technique. God damn it! Alright, perhaps later. What do you think of our traveling companion? I am more accustomed to traveling in the company of soldiers, so I am of practice judging the worth of civilians and miscreants. If you had anyone particular in mind, I will give him some thought. What do you think of Verse? I try not to. She's a force of chaos, an agent of the voices of Neret. Taking her into our confidence can only lead to ruin. But yes, she is a capable fighter. For a time being, I am confident you could trust her to serve your interests and rely on her skills on the battlefield. She may even offer some useful perspective on the war. Okay.
I got it.
We'll talk more about that later. Alright. So if we go this way... Alright, so we can go... Wow! That's, Alright, we might as well go... here, because we gotta go there. Go fuck yourselves.